People are going to be beaming in here for a little while, but that does not mean we cannot start with a prayer. Would anybody like to do an invocation for the new Thought Pray-a-Thon for a world that works for everyone? No conclusions required. Just open us up. In that case, I will do so. So you can close your eyes or go to a soft focus, or otherwise turn your attention away from the distractions of the world around you so we can turn within to that infinite power and presence, that one creative force, that source that is everything, that is everyone, that is everywhere. That one divine power and presence that creates stars and galaxies, that creates planets and people and particles, that creates everything, and then allows and encourages its creation to fold back upon itself, to rub up against itself, to bring new experiences, new forms, new varieties into life. Each one of us is an expression of that infinite power and presence, shining that bright light of divine love in a way that is uniquely us. This time that we spend together in the Pray-a-Thon is an opportunity to channel that divine creative energy into a new experience for each of us individually, for all of us together, for our planet, for our world, for a world that works for everyone. So this time is an opportunity to plant that seed of intention and allow it to begin to germinate and grow and blossom and bear fruit. So I'm grateful for the time. I'm grateful for the willingness that each one has to participate in this adventure. I am grateful for the good that's already unfolding. I'm grateful for this time together. And I'm grateful to release this word of intention into the same creative law that has said yes since the very beginning of time. It once again says yes. And so it is. So you guys can unmute if you want to. We're going to start with a little bit of chat, which you can do either in the chat window or you can do by by unmuting and making a comment. So the idea is a world that works for everyone. And the question for you is, what does that mean to you? I have ideas of what it means to me, but what does it mean to everybody else? And you can't be wrong because it's what it means to you.
Bill, I'm sorry, what was the question?
What is a world that works for everyone? Like it says on my screen. Oops, there. There. We did a lot of work with anti-white supremacy and racism issues, and it is very clear that there's a world that doesn't work for specific groups of people. Bless you, Yvonne. And so that's one of the things that it means for me. For me, and all my life, it's been about a level playing field. You know, and it's really easy for me to speak from here at my position of privilege. But level out the playing field, that's what it means to me. Spiritual activism. A world where people matter more than profits. A world where everybody's needs are met. A world of love. Yeah, what else?
It's a world where there's room and support for everyone to be their authentic selves, and they know that they can do that. Then they don't have to be afraid or worry. And so many people hide their light under a bushel, as it were, for all sorts of reasons, partly because the world in general is not always welcoming to people who stray from that norm sometimes. So a world that's really supportive and inviting to people to be authentically themselves.
Thank you, Breen. Anybody else?
I
To
think
me, oh, go ahead.
it's okay.
No, you, please.
Thank you. I think that one of the things that's really important is the basic needs are met first for everyone. Nobody should be hungry. Nobody should not have a place to live. Everybody should be able to be educated in the way that they want to. I think that people's cultures and differences need to be respected, and that we have, we have a safe environment. And instead of trying to get everybody to be the same and live according to our beliefs or someone's beliefs, that we have the right to be our unique selves and have our unique cultures, and that those things are celebrated. And I know that that probably sounds idealistic, but that's what, when I think of a world that works for everyone, that's what I see.
Beautiful. Yeah, and if you can't be idealistic in this group, then like why bother? But thank you.
What's the point?
Michael, you were saying?
You know, Tony took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say virtually the same thing. I mean, we have a planet, we live on one planet, and yet we have people across the planet in different economic strata where there's people that are not provided for. There's wars going on, there's genocides going on, and this is not new. It's gone out throughout history. A world that works for everyone is where we coexist together, not only peacefully, respecting each other, our different cultures, our creeds, our different nationalities, but we're also providing for each other. We know that we need to hang together as one planet, and this got demonstrated over the last year with the coronavirus. If there's anything that could be more clear, and yet it's not totally clear. There are still parts of the world, Africa, for instance, is dastardly behind getting vaccinated, 2% maybe. That's not, again, we're not at that place yet. And that's the spiritual knowing and work we're doing in New Thought is the way to get there. It is, because religions throughout history have created separation. they, you know, one would think they were here to bring us together, but they've created more separation than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Iris.
You know what comes to my mind, Bill, is an old song lyric from Jimi Hendrix. Now I'm dating myself. He said, when the power of love stronger than a love of power, we will have a world that works for everyone.
Mm. Thank you, Jimmy.
That's really the truth.
Yeah. Paul, you were saying?
Yeah, I think what it is for me is that when we start seeing the magnificence and the uniqueness of everyone and honoring that in everyone, then it'll all take care of itself. If we actually saw every single person on this planet as the unique, magnificent expression of God that they are, then all of it goes away. All of the racism, all of the hate, all of the whatever goes away.
So true.
Yeah, and there's your next, Marina. There's climate change. You know, there are issues about the way that we are depleting the resources in the planet and spoiling our environment in a way that might make this planet perfectly inhabitable for creatures who are not human. You know, the planet's not gonna go away, but we might. Marina, it's good.
Just for accessibility for all, especially for the physically disabled. We are the #1 group of people who are the most, get the most nothing. Out of the 50 states, 30 somewhat states plus consider physically disabled less. We have less access to everything. July 26, 1990 is when the Disabilities Act was enacted, and I don't see much of a difference. A little bit in some towns still, when new buildings, they still put a step. And then they say, well, you can just easily roll it over. No, you can't, not if you're in a motorized one. You know, I just invite everybody to, you know, just to spend a day in a wheelchair, just 8 hours. 8 hours in a wheelchair, especially if you're going to some of these conferences. See what it's like. This is even a better one. Go through airport security in a wheelchair. It's horrible. I'm missing my leg. You should see what they do to me. When I'm missing my leg, you should see the search they give me. It's uncomfortable, it's humiliating, and it's embarrassing. So there's a really good documentary called Crip Camp, and it's about the physical disabled movement. And I don't know if anyone here has watched it or seen it, but it's remarkable. It's on Netflix, and I believe it's also on YouTube.
Yeah,
What's the name again, Marina? Say the name again.
Crip Camp.
Oh,
Cliff,
yeah.
Cliff
Yeah.
Camp.
Crip.
Crip.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
And yes, crip is a very horrible word to use, but that's what it's called.
Sometimes you got to shock people into noticing what you're talking about.
Yes. And people say, oh, you could go on Zoom. We want to be seen. People in wheelchairs want to be seen. And to me, that's so, that is the worst thing to say to somebody. We have Zoom. You can go on Zoom. You know, does anybody else want to go on Zoom all the time?
Right.
I'm done with my rant.
Yeah. Thank you. Nicely ranted. And that brings new meaning to a level playing field, because even with one little step, it's not so level anymore. Was your hand up, Paul? Oh, you were just flailing. Okay, Christine.
Hi everybody. When I was a child, I was raised with writing letters, thank you letters, and letters to people of I'm thinking of you, and celebratory letters. And so when I think of prayer, for me, it's a love letter. And whatever, it's a love letter that I craft and whatever I'm praying upon. When it comes to making this world better for everyone, I think right now, especially, well, three things. Like one, boldly lean into faith and share that faith. And two, listen, like really, really be interested in actively listening to each one of our stories and following that up with reflection and compassion.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? What does a world that works for everyone look like for you? Priya.
I just have to say, everybody just hit everything that I wanted to say. And I always say it's always about love. And love to me means accepting. Love to me means not judging and looking at people the way I want to be looked at. And that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, the golden rule goes a whole long way in all of this.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. And of course, that's the one that's common to all the religions. As he says, kindness reigns in everything. Amen. Yeah. So I feel like the planet has been, or humanity has been dope slapped in the last year as we've set up this completely intricate global network of interdependencies combined with the competition and the hostilities. And then first of all, the whole thing got torn apart by a pandemic. And then as if that wasn't enough, it was demonstrated pretty clearly to us that one ship turning sideways in the Suez Canal can back everything up for 2 weeks. Oh, and by the way, the pandemic, you could see Mount Everest from Kathmandu because the pollution went away. And there was marine life in the canals in Venice, which nobody had seen in 100 years. So we keep on getting those nudges that there's something possible. And maybe at some point we'll get it. Carolyn Richardson.
Thank you. And I just wanted to really thank Marina for bringing into my awareness that disabled people don't have the access that I thought they did. And so thank you, because once there is awareness, then we can do something to make that better. But as long as we're living in the dark, we don't know there's something to do. And, you know, I really think that we have two things to consider. One is, like you mentioned earlier, if we don't take care of our planet in the same loving, give Mother Earth, because we're connected, that's part of us. If we don't take care of that with the respect, and all living things, every animal, every plant, every organism, as well as the non-living things, it's all God. And until we have reverence for all things, especially for each other, it is not a world that works for anyone, much less everyone. So I think reverence for all things is huge. And I'm going to keep Marina's words. I'm going to keep a space for that and see what happens with that. Thank you, Marina.
Beautiful. Thank you. Eve.
Yeah, I just wanted to read what I had written, that in a world that works for everyone, all are free to open their vulnerability, to be open with them so that our strength can shine and we can interact, and stop shaming and help each other thrive. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else? Some different angle or perspective on what it means to have a world that works for everyone? Joanne McFadden, it's wonderful to see you. I haven't talked to you since yesterday.
Well, I'm borrowing this. This is totally not my own, but it's Greg Braden's. He talks about just this shift from competition to cooperation.
Mm.
And he writes about it in several of his books, and it's just so powerful because, you know, we've had this race consciousness belief in competition, you know, largely because of the Darwin's theory of evolution, right? Survival of the fittest. And that's something that we need to eradicate from our race consciousness, because it's only through cooperation that you're going to thrive. I remember several years ago I gave a talk about the race to the South Pole or North Pole. I can't even remember now. And these men were trying to get there first. You know, each one of them was trying to get there first, and they lost toes, and I mean, they had all kinds of hardships and physical injuries and everything else. And I thought, you know, if they just cooperated with each other instead of racing each other to get there to be the first one, you know, they would have all done it. But competition is so ingrained in our culture, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know, we can all cooperate and help each other and live that principle of oneness.
Yeah.
That would be a big part of it for me.
Yeah. And what if survival of the fittest were about survival of all of us by fitting together?
Yeah.
Because it's the homogeneous doesn't work. We're not going to be the same. We're going to be one. Missy.
Yeah, it reminded me of there was writings long ago. I think it was by Eisler, and she was saying it wasn't either supposed to be patriarchal, matriarchal, but that it was supposed to be partnership societies, and that's what this transformation, as it settles, that we have an opportunity now to actually go towards a partnership society.
Yeah.
Which kind of aligns with what she was talking about just then about cooperation.
Yeah, the notion of competition is really, really interesting, you know, because it's so easy with a sports metaphor. In order to have a winning team, you need to have a team that's almost as good who's going to lose, because you need to have that's how you work out what the deal is. But that life isn't that way. Now, if you look at love, if you give away twice as much love as somebody else, it's not like you get depleted. You wind up with 4 times as much. Kate.
Yeah, I love the idea of creating a world that works for everyone and everything. And I also think it's important to think about the word creating, because it's already there as a possibility. And so I think a lot of it is for us to start accepting it and treating each other like we have it.
Is that a real palm tree behind you? You're muted.
Photograph of a real palm tree, yes.
Okay. I was gonna say, if that's a real palm tree, then about 3/4 of us are jealous. Coach Joe.
Hello. Well, I just wanted to just be very brief and throw in like a sort of a more radical approach. And this is a quote from Angela Davis. And Angela Davis said, "I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept." And when more of us adapt that philosophy, we'll have a world that works for everyone. Because there are a lot of things in this world that we can't accept, that aren't right. And it's time to change them.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so it's 20 after. Anybody else something you want to contribute? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a combination of things. We're going to do a little bit of meditation together and to connect in with the idea of what we believe for ourselves and informed by what we've heard each other talking about today. And just to settle into a meditative experience of what that is like when it happens. No attachment whatsoever to how it's going to happen. No attachment to the timeline or the dependencies or the project management of the whole thing. Just the intention for the outcome that we are seeking in a world that works for everyone. And then at some point, I will begin doing a prayer. And what I want everybody to do is unmute your microphone and start praying along with me out loud into the Zoom. Yes, I know you're not all supposed to talk at the same time, because when a lot of people talk into the Zoom at the same time, it just winds up being a jumble and a cacophony. But I've done this before. This is like a chamber of prayer that we do when we're together. So everybody doing your prayer in whatever way that you do it, whatever you're praying for, whatever is meaningful for you, as long as it's going to take. We'll do those all together and just let that intention be. And then we're all done. We're going to go to the quiet and just marinate in that energy that we've created. Any questions? All right. Well, if you don't want to go scrambling for your mute button at the end of the meditation, you go ahead and unmute now. We will take the risk that somebody's dog is going to bark or their phone is going to ring. Just be okay with that. So with a complete understanding of the world that currently exists, as we look at the evidence that surrounds us, it's all okay. Go ahead and close your eyes to that circumstance and allow your inner eye to open, opening into a world that works for everyone. Feel yourself be fully present in this place, this time, in this group. Feel your seat beneath you. Feel the floor beneath the seat. Be aware of that 4,000-mile column of earth that is supporting you right here, right now on the surface. Feel your connection. Feel the space around you and the sky above you that goes on and on and on to infinity. Allow yourself to be aware of your place on that line from the center of the earth out to infinity. Take a deep breath in. Let yourself be completely filled. And a deep, full exhale. Let it go completely. Allow yourself to be open and empty and available. And from that space of emptiness, allow yourself to experience the potential. All of the good coming in the next breath. Take a deep breath in again. Allow yourself to be filled with new possibilities. Hold at the top. Sip in even a little bit more. And then again, let it go. Surrender. Let go of any attachment to what was, to what has been. Let whatever's no longer serving wash away as you become even more fully centered in this moment. Continue breathing at the pace that's comfortable for you. Breathing in possibility. Breathing in the good that's available, breathing in that infinite potential. And breathing out, surrendering, letting go, becoming available for that next newness. As you go into the quiet, bring to mind, as you're breathing in, what a world that works for everyone means to you. And as you breathe out, surrender and release any distraction or attachment to the way things have been or the reasons that they can't be the way that you thought they were as you were optimistically breathing in. And then once again, breathe in that possibility of a world that works for everyone. Let yourself come to the felt reality of what it feels like to live in a world that works for everyone, to participate in that sort of a world. Feel it as you breathe. And on your next breath in, just like that, I want you to feel that multiplied by 10. Let it become 10 times more powerful. Power it up. A world that works for everyone. And in this place of powerful possibility, of that potential ready to unfold, it's a world that works for everyone. I begin my prayer, knowing that there is one power and presence, one infinite intelligence, one divine love that creates everything.
Perfect world. Everyone feels loved, accepted, valued, honored, cared, heard, and blessed.
Body parts,
Safe.
Right now, what I
Their creativity, their being, their light, and their love.
recognized as the sentient beings they are, lifted up, they're recognized as divine emanation.
Spreading that light and love all together in everyone's heart.
No less so than you.
And join and unite in cooperation.
You don't lessen their value because you don't understand them in their languages.
So a world that works for everyone.
We're creative.
Unbound by false beliefs.
There are no second.
We get a part of the creation.
Cares by regret, by burden, by darkness.
Dealing with those challenges.
Because we can.
Open to know and feel the connection. I can know this moment. Walking lovingly, gently, reverently in this earth, valuing this earth, this environment, all life, all life, all life, knowing this independent, all creation, with every person,
what has to be done.
everyone dwelling in the divine,
Has to be.
souls,
This it has to be in love. Has to be.
joy, fulfillment,
Sameness, recognizing.
every desire, knowing that God always has us free of any seeming blockages, free of any seeming walls or barriers or obstructions, free of any sort of self-imposed imprisonment, impenetrability, peace,
before this.
Spirit
It
is
was
open heart
time.
inspiration.
Beauty
Guides
for
me
that
to
need.
heart, realizing that it is
We
separate
are
person.
enough. We are all that I can have is expect that we have a world that is beautiful. It is clear. It is beautiful. It is
And when
pristine.
I find that I
I
am
see people who are
and
looking
is
for
free
that. So
anything,
it
any
is allow them to be free.
situation.
Thank you.
I
It
feel
is
like
fun.
every
And
time
so
I step into the power of come from a sense of happiness. So I multiply these thoughts and
has long been known
I
for
am
cosmological
part of
depths to
what
of the
I am.
universe.
It
The
is
full explanation
so
Our values and any other condition. We are all
to speak the language of this world
equally
and all its
loved
charms
and
and
therefore
respected.
nuances.
I work with power.
We also strain toward that invisible other that seems to hover right beyond us,
Joy,
between
When
glimpses of vision,
free of
an
hunger, free of
intuition
thirst,
of
free of
another.
longing, free.